In this video, we'll be looking at the 29 hazards hiding on plain sight and why minor can still cost you. There are over 29 hazards council can assess your property against. Most landlords can't name 5. HHSRS isn't one vague standard. It's a system built around 29 specific hazards. Everything from damp and mould to excess cold to fire risk, to falls on stairs, to overcrowding, to electric safety, to carbon monoxide. 29 distinct categories a council can assess your property against. And within each one, a hazard gets scored on either category 1 or category 2. Category 1 is serious, and if it's found, the council must act. So there's no discretion involved. Damp and mold severe enough to affect your health. A broken banister on a stairway with a real risk of a serious fall. What? A gas appliance with a genuine carbon monoxide risk. These are the ones that trigger mandatory enforcement every time. Category 2 is lower risk, and this is where a lot of landlords get caught out. Things like a slightly worn carpet edge, a window that's a little stiff to open, minor overcrowding, right? A handrail, right, that's not quite up to standard. In fact, overcrowding is a category 1 hazard, right? So on their own, these feel minor, not urgent, easy to think that's fine, that's nothing. So here's what most landlords don't realise. Category 1 is discretionary, meaning it's up to each individual council whether they enforce it. And that's exactly where people get caught out. One council might let a category 2 issue slide with a quiet word. Another council a few miles away enforces the exact same issue with a fine. So there's no single national rule book on how hard category 2 gets enforced. It depends entirely on what local authority you're under, and that can change over time as councils get more resources and more pressures to act. And here's a part that catches landlords out the worst. Several smaller category 2 issues in the same property or a combination with each other can be enough for a council to treat the situation more seriously overall, sometimes tipping the whole assessment towards a category 1 territory. A stiff window plus poor ventilation plus a bit of damp isn't 3 minor issues anymore. Together they can add up to a genuine health risk. So it's only minor is not a safe option. Right, or assumption. It depends on your council and the officer. It depends on what else is present, and it can change without you doing anything differently. So what's the solution? So you don't guess which of the 29 category hazards apply to your properties or assume minor means safe. Get a proper category 1 and category 2 risk assessment survey done. One that checks against all 29 categories, not just the obvious ones like gas and electrics. Understand how specific local authorities tend to enforce category 2 issues. What gets a quiet word in one council gets a civil penalty in the next. So become a free member with us. It costs nothing. It means that you're working from the full list of 29 and not just a handful of most landlords have heard of. So what action do you need to take? So let's summarize. 29 hazards, 2 categories. One of them is mandatory, the one's entirely dependent on your council's approach and the individual officer. And it's capable of adding up to something more serious if left unchecked. So, book your 30-minute consultation today. No obligation. We'll walk you through what exactly you need to know. And what exactly you need to know. Get yourself booked on your risk assessment survey, category 1, category 2 risk assessment survey, while it's locked in at those good prices. Become a free member, right? So not all 29, not just the ones that everyone's heard of. Also, if you've not received landlord training, you need to get yourself trained because your tenants, they're getting trained up on anything. Training is no longer optional. This is where landlords are getting caught out, because how do you know, even if you've got an agent or anybody else, whether they're doing their job properly, right? So at the very least, get yourself booked onto your free consultation. That costs you nothing, but doing nothing at all could end up costing you like more than £40,000 plus in fines, right? And rent repayment orders, or anything between of 24 months, right? Of which could cost you £24,000 to £72,000, right? In total, right? So get yourself booked on your free consultation at the very least.